When Gukesh was crowned the 18th world champion in December 2024, at that time there were some detractors, both in India as well as in the West, predominantly in the West. They were all saying that Gukesh is a lucky world champion. He's an accidental world champion. He doesn't deserve to be the world champion. Joining the chorus about almost 1 year later, when the Sinquefield Cup was going on the sidelines of it, the host broadcasters asked Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov at this point in time, he decided that, okay, I want to give my 2 bits on Gukesh being the world champion. And when you look at it at this point in time, his first major statement that he made was, Gukesh won fair and square, but you can hardly call him the strongest player in the world. I don't want to sound offensive, but I think Magnus ended the era of classical world champions. Gukesh is not the strongest player, he agrees. Even we agree. He wasn't the strongest chess player to become the world champion. He doesn't have the aura of a Karpov or a Kasparov or an Anand or a Carlsen or past grandmasters prior to it. But is he the world champion? Yes, he is. I don't want to sound offensive, but I think Magnus ended the era of classical world champions. When he decided to relinquish the title, that's it. A new era began where some players will become the world champion, but they will not be awe-inspiring. It's still clear that Magnus is the strongest and Gukesh is yet to prove his superiority over others, even players of his age category. The round 1 game against Pragnananda at the Sinquefield Cup was very unimpressive. Gukesh lost in the first round against Pragnananda at the Sinquefield Cup. And because of that, the criticism has only widened. Gukesh hasn't won anything since the World Championships. Yes, he's had occasional brilliances, but he's not won the title. He's going the Ding Liren way. That is the common criticism that is coming about. Because he did beat Magnus, but Magnus had beaten him in Norway in the earlier round. Yes, he capitalized on a stroke of luck that Magnus blundered. But is that Gukesh's fault? No, it isn't. This is not exactly the title that I had or Karpov had or Fischer had or Magnus had. But I apologize, and I have to apologize time and time again. This statement is the problem. Kasparov is stuck in those old times. Oh, there were 2 strong players. We had to earn our world championships. We had to ensure that we fought tooth and nail. But conveniently in this, he's forgotten Anand. Vishy Anand also held his own and from 2007 until 2012 defended against some of the best players that were there. And he defended it in any format that could come his way. In Kasparov's statement, Susan Polgar, the sister of Judith Polgar, has jumped to Gukesh's defense. Susan Polgar mentioned, Gukesh is a deserving world classical champion, period. He went through the FIDE candidates as an 18-year-old, the youngest in the tournament, and came out ahead of big stars. It was not his fault that Carlsen walked away from the title. He beat Alireza, he beat Jan Nepomniachtchi, he beat Hikaru Nakamura, he also beat Fabiano Caruana. 4 of the strongest players in the field at this point in time. He got to the World Championships, yes, you can say by the very last minute. He got through thanks to the FIDE circuit. But also, you have to then question Alireza Firouzja because he managed to make it only through the rankings, the average rankings at this point, and arranging a tournament where he just played 7 games and won all 7. This is the problem. That is conveniently sidetracked because Alireza Firouzja is in the West. Gukesh is in the East. It's a classical showdown. If we as a chess community delegitimize his title defense, that's what Susan Polgar is going on. Because he did not beat Carlsen, then we need to do the same for world champions after Bobby Fischer, since he also walked away from his title. Pre-Fischer, post-Fischer. Look at the title contenders that were there. Mikhail Botvinnik, there was also Vasily Smyslov, Mikhail Tal, Tigran Petrosyan, then you had Boris Spassky. Spassky versus Fischer ensured that the continuum in the Soviet dominance ended. But Fischer also walked out of the title because he was having too many differences and his views were also pretty extremist. Then Anatoly Karpov and Viktor Korchnoi managed to play each other and Karpov emerged as the winner. The same would play out nearly 20 years later when yet again the FIDE title was left vacant after a split between Kasparov and FIDE. Anand had to go through a lengthy candidate cycle and then play Karpov directly, was seeded in the final. Karpov won. And then Karpov had the audacity to say, oh, Indians lack that killer instinct. The same situation has been played over and over again. People in India themselves are so blinded by fan bases here that they think, oh, Gukesh, yaar, what is he doing? He can't be the world champion. Someone else deserves to be the world champion. Magnus Carlsen, let's make no mistake about it. The way how he downplays certain players is causing a ripple effect in the West when it comes to opinions. And that is borderline racism that is going on. But Gukesh is the world champion. He has a chance to defend it in 2026. If he doesn't, well, the criticism will only mount. But for now, at this point in time, in August 2025, he is still the world champion at the age of 18. Not many have managed that effort. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.